Hello. All right, it's time to leave. It's definitely time to leave. All right, so I just got out of Dismember the Alamo, the annual horror marathon that lots of Alamo draft houses host. I think I'm pretty lucky to be in the one that's in Richardson, Texas, aka Dallas, Texas. I think this is the best one. I see people's lineups, and they're all featuring at least one of the same movies. I saw no one's list have any of the movies I saw. At least as of yet. There's other ones that are happening today worldwide. But I said worldwide. In the US. I don't believe Alamo Drafthouse has stuff that's like not in US. Anywho, I got to watch a bunch of fucking movies, and I want to talk about them while I inevitably drive home. It's gonna take like 50 minutes to get home, so this will like give me something to vocally distract myself as if I'm talking to someone, or not just driving with music on for fucking 50 minutes, which can be fun, but sometimes it's not the vibe. Sometimes you just want to fucking talk about movies that you saw, that you just got out of, that you've never experienced before. So, what a lineup. What a fucking lineup this was. So I didn't really have like a much to expect from this Alamo. I was a bit sad that my friend Noah couldn't go. I typically get to go with him, but this year he had other convictions going on. He prior convictions. He has reasons he couldn't make it. That's what I'm trying to say. So I was kind of left alone to this one, which I was curious how that would feel. I am sad to say he might miss the best lineup of the years of the 3 years that I've at least went. He went with me the last 2 years, which had fun lineups featuring stuff like Bug, Phantom of the Mall, Blackenstein, Boo 2 and Medea Halloween, iconic. Yes, the iconic Boo 2 and Medea Halloween, I know. But this year, the lineup was pretty good, so I'm going to talk about them. If you don't know what Dismember the Alamo is, again, it's a horror movie marathon through Alamo Drafthouse, and the people who usually pick it's all picked by sort of staff and the people who, line up everything. And we have 3 hosts at the Richardson location every year, and they kind of each pick their film that they want to be in there, or the 1 or 2 films they want in there. So I guess we'll just begin with it. The first film we watched was called Psycho Cop Returns. I have yet to see the original, but as everyone was saying, the 3 hosts pretty much said after the movie started, because again, you don't know what these movies are until they start, and then after the movie, they talk about what you just watched. And so, Psycho Cop Returns. I didn't know jack fucking shit about this movie. I didn't know the way they were saying the taglines. They give you hints by saying the tagline of the movie before the movie. I was like, oh, it sounds like a sequel. And it was a sequel. There is original Psycho Cop, but from what I hear, from what they said, you could watch this completely standalone, as it's almost a parody of Psycho Cop. Psycho Cop is just pretty much, they said, a ripoff of Maniac Cop that came out the year before, which I've seen the first Maniac Cop. And then this, they described to everyone in there as almost a self-aware parody that came out 10 years later. Almost trying to do like a Jason Lives for Friday the 13th, where it almost feels like what the Friday the 13th movie at that point should be parody. And this is like what Psycho Cop, I suppose, should be, a so-called parody of the first Psycho Cop, which I am interested to at least check out now that I've seen the sequel. None of the other films we saw were sequels. I guess I would say thankfully, but honestly I didn't mind, because from what I looked up as well when I was logging this on Letterboxd and looking online, it seems people like Psycho Cop Returns more than the original, so maybe they just picked that for the better end of the stick. But I thought this movie was a fucking blast. It's essentially about this cop who basically sees these 2 men at a donut shop in the morning, and this cop happens to be a Satanist worshiper, a violent serial killer murderer. He goes undercover as a cop. His name is Joe Vickers, and he just fucking kills people. And he says like everything they're doing is legal. And technically they're having a bachelor party in a business office. They got alcoholic drinks, they got strippers, which is like, obviously, technically yes, that is all legal. But like the way it's, fucking handled, it's so funny. I can't begin to describe. It's like Office Christmas Party, but it's a bachelorette party instead. Meets like the humor in it feels like a weird Kevin Smith film at times, which ironically this film is written by Dan Povenshire, the guy who has written tons of The Simpsons and is the creator of Phineas and Ferb. Fucking wrote this like bizarre sexual stupid slasher film about a psychotic cop. Like, that's fucking awesome. Like, you would not expect that on the average basis, but that is exactly what is going on and what is happening in this film. And I fucking kind of loved it because of that. So, the film is just a bunch of funny kills, and every kill is featured with, like, a cop pun. When, like, one where he reads the guy's Miranda rights, but he's like, you have the right to remain silent, but you already are silent, because you're dead. You have the right to an attorney, which you won't need, because you're dead. Like, it's just stupid shit like that, and there's tons of punny lines every kill, and they're grand. Every line is grand. I don't know what my favorite one would be, but every single one had me genuinely fucking laugh my ass off. The kills were pretty fun. They're, like, not super violent. It doesn't feel like they have a high budget or for the gore or anything, but it was very fun to see the kills in general. There were some goofy ones. The fact that they all come with one-liners makes those kills more memorable than the logistical part of the kill itself. The guy who plays Joe Vickers, that guy is having a blast. I messaged a friend who I also asked if he wanted to fill in for my other friend because we had 2 tickets for this. I was like telling him, like, this looks like one of our friends if he was like 38, the cop in this film. And I was like, this looks like, he does. He genuinely looks like one of my friends I know if he was like 15 years older, a little bit heavier, but like in the face and the hair, I'm like, no, my friend has had that exact fucking face whenever he does a crazy face and that haircut. It was like throwing me off. I was like, dude, he should. If they ever want a sequel, we can continue at modern day. I will have my friend play the role. If we want to make Psycho Cop 3, Psycho comes back. No, Psycho Cop comes back. That would be a great final third title, since this was Psycho Cop Returns. Shame that this is out of print on Blu-ray. Very hard to find, apparently. They only made 1,666 copies from what I read online. Vinegar Syndrome, I believe, picked it up. I don't know if they're also the ones who made the first Blu-ray, but the first film also has a Blu-ray that is out of print, so shame. I usually like to buy what I see, especially because even if they're not great films, they remind me of a memory of going to this event that is always so enjoyable for me every year. So I would like to own it, but it's a shame I probably won't be able to get this one unless I throw at least $80 at it. But hey, that's just what happens. I mean, it looks like you can rent it online, so it's not like unavailable everywhere, impossible to find. So thank you, internet. And thank you, I suppose, streaming services. Kind of fuck you, but, you know, at least they're there. So yeah, I would recommend Psycho Cop Returns. I think that in terms of just pure fun, this was the most fun movie, got the most laughs, had the most rowdy crowd, which I guess is a good way to energize everyone into the kind of marathon you're into. They even start by saying at the beginning of this marathon, like, hey, we aren't watching fucking Halloween, you're not watching Friday the 13th, you're not seeing Carrie, you're not gonna watch any classics like Wicker Man, you are seeing shit like Frankenhooker, or Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, or fuck it, Psycho Cop, you know, shit like that. That is what the marathon is built for and made of, and you just kind of have to go with it, which I think is really fun to have a marathon like that. You don't find that everywhere, and the fact that once a year you can go watch these movies like this is just a blast. And I found out I always miss it every year because I think it lands on a Saturday. They do this one called it's called, what is it, December to Dismember. So they do like a double feature instead of 4 movies to 5, 4 to 5. They do 4 to 5 every marathon. This year was 4. But they do a December themed one. So if that December themed one pops up, if I'm like good on that Saturday and it's not the Saturday I think it lands in December, I might be able to go check out what they kind of play during that, because I think that could be fun to see Christmas themed horror, because there's a lot of fun Christmas themed horror. But yeah, Psycho Cop, fucking cool as hell. One of the most like long and drawn out strip scenes. There are characters in this film, strippers, that have their ass and tits out the entire runtime, and they are at least on screen 20 or 30 minutes. But there's also just a notorious stripping scene that goes on like 3 minutes. Full vaginal shown. I'm just saying, this movie's a lot of nudity. The kills aren't violent. The language is like somewhere in the middle. The nudity is probably the hardest pushing thing of this movie. There's quite a bit in this one. But a fun time. Who doesn't love boobs? Anyways, the next film that we watched after that was a film that I have seen at my job a lot because we have all the versions of this one. It's called Dead and Buried. I guess Blue Underground did a 4K release of it, and I'm aware of that because it's at the video store I work at. This has been a film that's interested me. I've seen the cover art at my video store, and I'm like, this looks cool. and it looks like an interesting film. I wasn't aware that there was actually a good amount of buzz when I checked the Letterboxd and Rotten Tomatoes. It seemed like there was a lot of defenders of this film in particular, so I guess it has a really good cult following to it that I wasn't super aware of. It's super fun. It's super fun. It's this weird, bizarre mystery about this cop, almost Halloween 3 feeling, like Season of the Witch feeling, about this cop who, or a detective, I guess, who's noticing a bunch of deaths happening where he's from, and people are getting murdered and then almost coming back to life, and they don't know how these people are coming back to life. Not like zombies, but almost like a full voodoo resurrection, black magic type thing. And there's a lot of characters. It's almost also a Hot Fuzz vibe, because it's like everyone in this little town. I forgot the name of the town already. It's like Puffers Bluff, Bluffers Putter. I don't fucking remember the name. I need to look it up again to remember. But it's this like little town where, you know, creepy shit is going on. And yeah, it's really fun. The lead actor in the film I thought was very good. I know I had seen him in something else before, and I could not think of it the entire time the movie was playing, but I know I have seen this actor. And I thought he was really good in the lead detective role. He has to play kind of a dry comedic role, play very sad, and like, no, this person that I know could not be a part of this. There's no way. And then that ending where he starts to find out that everything ties together, and everything that has been going on in his life, it's like it's all one thing. And this film ends on like 3 twists that build, and I kind of expected 2 of them. The very final scene, like the last shot of the movie, is like a very quick reveal, like, oh, this is also a twist. And that reveal like genuinely had me go like, oh, no way. That was fucking, that kind of got me. What the fuck? That shit actually shocked me at one point. I actually didn't believe that. So they got me with a good twist at the ending. The performances all around are good. It's almost half the time this really bleak and actually creepy, pretty well done horror tone, almost with some giallo hints to it. Not a ton, but in parts. And other times it's like a really campy, weird film. There's some really funny dialogue, some really like weird editing choices and scenes that make it pretty funny. It's weird how it goes back and forth, but it all lands very naturally as this bizarre mystery, black magic resurrecting people sort of zombie film, and I very much enjoyed it. Also, Uncle Joe or Grandpa Joe, sorry, from Willy Wonka, the guy who plays him in that, he's in this as this mortician, and fuck is he great. I recognized him. I immediately did recognize the guy. I didn't know the actor's name, but I was like, that's the dude from Willy Wonka. I know that as a fact, because I've seen that movie like at least fucking 50 times. Maybe not 50 times, probably more like 20. But I've seen that movie a shitload. So I'm definitely aware of like who the guy is. So seeing him on the big screen in this brought me a lot of joy. Very entertaining film, very creative. I do love some of the shots. The kills are great. This was the film that all the kills and all the other films are like the kills are not super impressive, but there's something to behold in here. There's some really great makeup and special effects in this one. An impressive kill involving a needle that I won't give away. One involving like a hook. People being burned alive. An acid kill that was like probably the least convincing looking, but it was still like a really cool effect and concept of a kill. Yeah, I really enjoyed this film. Once again, I do think this is like one of the better lineups I've had. Every year we go, I feel like we get like at least pretty consistently like 2 shitty movies with some fun parts, at least enough to them, and then like the one that's like really good, and then the one that's like pretty good. I would say as a consistent level, there was none this year that were Bug level. Last year we got Bug by William Friedkin, which I fucking loved. Bug. I thought that film was great. For me, nothing at that level of just a great quality movie, but there were 2 movies this year that were pretty close and just actually good movies. Psycho Cop Returns is not really a good movie, but it is meant to be fun and goofy, and you're having fun with that concept. The ones that I'm genuinely calling really good are this one and the last film we got to see, which I guess after Dead and Buried, I gave it like a 3.5 on my Letterboxd. I very much enjoyed it. When it was like in the middle of the play, I was like, this is taking a while for it to get going for me, but as it kept going, I got more invested and had a lot of fun with it, and I think that's something to really grow for in these films. So yeah, also check this one out. I think people will really enjoy it. Next up, I guess let's talk about the third film. This is simultaneously the one I have like the most and the least to say about, because I have so many questions, like, what the fuck is this? I've heard of the title Jacko before. I had heard about it years ago online. I saw like a critic who I know discuss a bit of it. He didn't like actually review the whole film, but he talked a little bit about it, and I remember hearing the title. And then since I've worked at a video store, we have a copy of this film at my video store, which is funny. My video store technically got a shout out during the after the three hosts talked about it at the end. They said there are 2 people who have this on eBay, otherwise it's like impossible to find online or at a lot of places. One of the places on eBay we sell at my store on eBay, other websites, you also can buy stuff in person. That's kind of our thing, is just movies and physical media in general. We have a copy of Jacko at the store, and I always see it in the J section because we're all alphabetized. So they basically were shouting out one of the listings, because one of the eBay listings, of the 2 eBay listings, one of them I know is my boss has this movie at our video store. We have this movie there. So I thought that was cool to get kind of a shout out. So yeah, if you want to get Jacko, you live in the DFW area of Texas, that's a film you want. We have it for like 120, so you know, bit of money. It's out of print as fuck, as I just mentioned, but Jacko, almost jack off, doing a jack O, you know. So Linnea Quigley, she has kind of like a small role in the film, but you know, top billing, obvious reasons for Linnea Quigley. You know why she's there. There is a dude. The biggest laugh of the night might have been from this movie, even though it seems like I follow people on Letterboxd who go to this every year. So like 4 or 5 people, and they all had this one easily rated the lowest. I also did, but they rated it like 1 and 1.5. So I gave it like a 2.5. I had fun with Jacko. This is like a Disney Channel, almost cheaper than that level quality of a movie. But it's like, it feels like it has a lot of story and substance when there's really like nothing to it. Because there's like, it's supposed to be this deep lore, but there is like no explanation for any of the fucking lore. Like, if they set this up as like, they tell this backstory of this jack-o'-lantern demon the pumpkin man who came around killing people, and this like wizard who cursed these 2 families, the Kellys, and I don't remember the other ones, like the Menkins or something like that. These 2 families way back then, over 80 years ago. And it is returned to this demonic pumpkin. And the really young kid, Sean, of the Kelly family now, many generations later, you know, 80 years later, he is the kind of one of the group who is meant to slay this demon, slay this creature. And I was like, dude, what the fuck are we doing? This is like such a lore-based film, and you don't expect that out of like, what the fuck is going on the entire time. And it's like really bizarre and funny in a very awkward way that I can't begin to sum up. But like, one thing I'll say is the Jacko costume is cool. The outfit is like cool. The head looks really nice. I'm like, if anything, I would believe the budget went to getting Linnea Quigley to do her fucking nude scene, and then beyond that, probably rest of the money I would imagine went to this costume, because none of the kills look great. The set design is very cheap. It's very simple. You could have shot this at like 2 people's houses, had a park and some sidewalks nearby, and you've pretty much seen all the locations of the film. And none of the actors are that great. The director of the film, his son is the one playing the like lead role in the film. He's playing the little kid, Sean Kelly, and I'm like, with Sean Kelly, like, I don't know why that name sounds familiar. Is there someone actually on Earth named Sean Kelly? I know R. Kelly, and I guess it could kind of sound like that name, but I swear there's like a Sean Kelly, or I've heard that name in some other context. At least the whole time I was watching it, was like, Sean Kelly, what the fuck is that? Yeah, none of the performances are good. All the like women in this film, like the mom, Linnea Quigley's character, this other woman that shows up who is the one telling this family, like, your son is like the one meant to kill this demonic pumpkin. She's part of the Macon family, not the Kelly family. And she's like known about this from the past because she, I believe, had a direct connection family-wise to the wizard in the film. There's this wizard who like basically cursed the family, so she knows about this person. So it's a lot of like lore dumping on shit that like makes no sense, because you're just like, what is going on? Like, who are we Who are we talking about in all the context of all of these things? What is really going on? I don't know. But you just have fun with it because the lore makes no sense. Jacko goes around killing people. The kills are pretty bad, although there is like one fucking amazing kill that has nothing to do with Jacko himself. Jacko does like cut people with this scythe, or he'll like scratch people with his claws. Like he genuinely murders people in the film. But there's one kill. There's this really like Republican aggressive family that's like, fuck the liberals, we need to kill them. We're so much better than them, no. Fuck the liberals. It's kind of very topical for the time going on now with the election and all. It's kind of funny to have that. Those two characters were probably the biggest laughs I was getting every time I come back to them. But the guy just the like dad of the family dies normally. I believe it was his daughter is making him toast in the toaster, and the toaster like shocks her a little bit. Okay, and she slips on this rug earlier in the film. So she's like, I need to go inside and get a weapon because she saw her dad dead. And she slips on the rug, falls directly with the knife into the toaster, and electrocutes her. And it electrocutes her for like 40 seconds straight. Like it's so shitty looking effect. And then her whole face like dissolves and melts in a really bad effect, and she just turns into a puppet. It's almost like Home Alone 2 whenever Marv turns into like the skeleton. It gets really cartoony, and I'm like, where the fuck? And then Jacko just sees it and walks off. He had nothing to really do with the kill, I don't believe. Shit just happened because she slipped on a rug and she's an idiot. I was wondering like what was the point of that, if not to be comical? Because apparently what they were talking about is the director kind of takes this film seriously, because they were mentioning on the 10th anniversary DVD as well as the Blu-ray release that there is a commentary where I believe it was like producer and director, and the director like storms out because the producer was making like fun of the movie, I believe. And the director comes back like 30 minutes later into the commentary, like way more calm. And apparently it wasn't a bit. It was like genuinely like that actually happened, and it actually like pissed the fucking guy off so much. I'm like, that's so funny. Like that's like super bad when Judd Apatow storms out because Jonah Hill won't stop cussing because for some reason Joe was like, let me bring my fucking 5-year-old, 6-year-old daughter at the time to this. Yeah, that's a great idea. Which is a really funny commentary if you haven't heard the super bad one, but that's what it was reminding me of. What else is there to say? There's like so many like little fucking gags. I guess Jacko teleports from what I know, because he'll be at this family's house they have this like haunted garage. They built their garage into like a little haunted maze for people to donate $1, and then they donate all the money at the end of the night to the homeless, is what they set up. So, the family's like meant to be likable, and they are likable. They're not like awful, annoying people. So that's something solid to say, I suppose, about these characters that aren't well fleshed out, other than everyone wants to fuck the kind of ugly, nerdy dad, and the mom is just like always concerned about everything going on around her. But basically he's in the haunted maze, this garage, and then out of nowhere in the next scene he'll be stalking these two couples in the woods, and then he'll be back in the garage like in the next scene, but then he'll be back in the woods the scene after, and then this biker guy gets killed, and you're just like, wait, so is this motherfucker like teleporting? Are these taking place at different times? It's like, I guess he just runs super fast and simultaneously is like the slowest killer ever, because he lets so many people just run away from him, and some he doesn't even kill. Some people just make it out of the movie because he's like, fuck it, don't really care. So weird entity the entire time. Again, Linnea Quigley, shower scene. It is a shot of her breasts, her cleaning her butt. It just goes on for like a minute, and then it cuts to a completely different thing going on that has nothing to do with it. And that was the scene. It was literally just to show her tits and ass, like, because it has no like relative thing to the story. She doesn't and then it cuts back to her again doing the same thing for like another 20 seconds, and then a phone call goes off that she has to answer. But like that minute is so like aggressively unnecessary. It is just for fucking pure nudity. Like it's practically like making a mild porno at the point of how they are framing this without like saying it's like it's clearly nothing going on other than we have this nude girl. You're right. Like what the fuck, dude. This is a film that I would like love to watch with like friends really drunk. Out of all of them, I feel like all these films would bore most of my friends, because like there is like each one of these films that we saw tonight has like at least the first 3. I'll have like 30 minutes of downtime where it's not the most interesting or entertaining thing, but they all really do stick the landing in some pretty good capacities. Like Jacko could be cut like 20 minutes and I think it'd be like a more fast-paced, more fun version of the film it already is. Same for like Psycho Cop. At the ending, I was like, this is going on a little long. I just kind of want these people to fucking die or hurry up. But it would have been like so much better. But yeah, Jacko's like easily the worst quality film. It probably deserved like 1 star, just because you could tell there was effort, and I liked the costume and, you know, fun ideas here and there, I suppose, but not well developed. It's almost like they had substance with zero substance simultaneously. But damn, again, is it fun. Like, I was thoroughly entertained the entire runtime. There wasn't a moment where I was really bored, except sometimes scenes with Jacko would drag on long. He would let people run away, and then we just cut back and forth to really boring dialogue scenes. It's like, no, we just want to see, like, people die, and then we get to the final ordeal, and we let this fucking kid vanquish the demon. Like, that's what we want to see. But we take time in these other places that are quite pointless for a lot of it. But can't say I didn't have fun, though, like, with it overall. I think it's a very entertaining film, one that people should check out. If you like shitty schlock, this is the most schlocky I saw today, for sure. Even the guy who came up and picked it was like, you can tell that I picked this one. If you know me from past years, you know I picked this fucking piece of shit. And I was like, respect, that's fucking awesome that you did, because this was very entertaining. Yeah, I guess 2.5 out of 5 is a valid score for the amount of fun I had with the crowd. It definitely had, again, not the most laughs overall. That was probably Psycho Cop, but 2 scenes in particular had the crowd roaring, and it's fun, dude. You don't know how fun it is to see a movie like this with 160 people, and everyone in that crowd is there for the same reason you are, to watch a movie. They're not there to talk during the movie. They're not AMC customers going to watch fucking Venom: The Last Dance, and they talk over 40% of the fucking runtime. Like, shut up, dude. Like, this is what real cinema was meant for. To see Jacko on a giant fucking high-quality screen. Hell yeah. So, yeah, fuck it. I had a fun time. Miso not complaino. That's what I could say. Miso not complaino. Finally, I got to watch one last film. This one, it's so funny, because I always have heard the title in a different manner. I'm going to explain it, because I'm not like, again, if I don't know the film, then I don't know much about it. We have this film at my store as well, interestingly enough. But the title came up with Rupert Everett, and I'm like, I know who Rupert Everett is. And then it just said, Dell'Amante dell'Amore. And I was like, okay, I've not heard of this. But apparently the tagline was Zombies, Guns, and Sex, Oh My, which is a great fucking tagline for any movie of any context. So the title came up, Dell'Amante dell'Amore, and like an hour and 30 in, I'm like, why have I heard of this film, but I've never heard of this fucking title? Like, I've never heard of it. And obviously a lot of titles, you know, when they hit America, because this is more of an Italian-British mixed-based production, when they hit America, they have different names. So the actual name in America, the reason I know this is because I've seen clips of it before under the name Cemetery Man. So the film we watched was Cemetery Man. That's how I would log it when I go on Letterboxd. It's not under Dell'Amante dell'Amore. Fuck yeah, dude. I was like, this feels like a genuinely quality film. Like, similar to Bug, where I was like, they genuinely, like, picked a final film to play on, like, an actual high note. It ended on a high note with, like, a genuine film. This didn't feel like shitty, schlocky parody. It didn't feel like a fake, ingenuine film. Disingenuine. It felt like an actual movie. It has campy and funny moments 100% throughout. But Rupert Everett is giving a genuinely, like, cool performance. It's a really cool concept. It's almost like Pride and Prejudice meets, like, Night of the Living Dead in a way. It's a zombie film, Cemetery Man. It's about this guy who runs this cemetery in this sort of, like, high quality but small town with, like, this rich, cocky mayor and shit. And basically, 7 days after people die and they're buried at the cemetery, they come back as a zombie. So, you know, you have to kill them and bury them again. That just happens every 7 days after these people die. Well, it's also a love story about this woman whose her actual husband passed, and she kind of quickly falls in love with Rupert Everett, who is the charming, kind of boisterous guy who is working there running the cemetery. And also at the cemetery, he has kind of a his like lackey, the guy who makes dig all the graves and stuff, his name is Nagi. I think it's like Nagy, how other people pronounce it, but he was calling him Nagi, the way it was said. And he's kind of this chubby, autistic guy who doesn't really speak properly. He's just kind of not all right there. And he also is experiencing his own love and his own trauma from working here. I really can't sum it up because it's actually there was one point where I was like, I'm confused on actually what's going on. And then by the very ending, I got it. I understood what it was saying and what was happening. But that last 30 minutes, at a point, I was like, wait, so is this guy killing people now alive? Is there a reason he's doing this? How is it all falling back? Why does he keep seeing the same girl? I eventually grew to understand what was happening. It's a film I have to just say, you've got to see it for yourself. It's very well shot. This one's definitely the most Giallo themed one. In fact, the director has worked as second AD on a bunch. They even mentioned at the end, like, the reason I was thinking it was like Giallo look, but it also had sort of a more mainstream American feel than most Italian Giallo movies will, is because this director was second AD for Dario Argento on many of his films, as well as working with Terry Gilliam on a few films. So, like, truly a person who's experienced in the field, so getting to direct a film like Cemetery Man is quite impressive. It's a horror comedy. It's a horror comedy with hint of, like, period piece romance drama, which I really enjoyed. When it actually had, like, romance scenes and, like, this dramatic tension, I was like, this might not be a funny film. Like, I really started to feel it the first hour. I was like, not a lot of laughs. I'm actually interested in what's going on. The performances are all around pretty solid. It's weird, but it's, like, really cool, like, aesthetically, performance-wise. I think, did Dead Meat cover this? I think someone's covered this that I know on YouTube, so I might need to check out whoever was review now that I've seen it and hear more thoughts about it, like, in depth, because I can't really tell you much about it without doing some research and knowing more about the film. But what I found was just good performances, some solid practical effects. It was funny at times. You could tell when it's, like, intentionally, like, this sort of campy, dry comedy that it's trying to do. And then other times when it's, like, genuinely a pretty solid, like, horror flick. It's the least, like, horror, I guess you would go. When you say horror, you think scary, you think disturbing, the stuff that gets to you. And this movie never really felt disturbing, but I can understand in parts where it might make people uncomfortable. Also, I'll say that Nagi has, like, a relationship with this underage girl. That involvement was really awkward and creepy to watch, but I also get what it was kind of saying about this character. The ending of that relationship, however it goes, I won't say how, is pretty interesting. There's also a fucking motorcycle zombie. A zombie rips through the fucking ground, shoots out on a motorcycle with rock and roll Italian music playing. It was one of the coolest shots I've ever seen. I was like, this is in the same movie that I've been watching for the past 40 minutes. Doesn't feel like it tonally. And it just is awesome out of fucking nowhere. They also do this thing called the kill count here, where you guess the kills for how many. You just write on a paper how many kills you think are going to be throughout all the movies you saw. And if you go over, it's like it doesn't count. So, like, if I wrote, say, I'll say the amount. The amount was 72. So if I wrote 73, I automatically could not win, even if I was the closest in proximity. It's Price is Right kind of rules, how they do it. I wrote 49 just as a guess for all the movies. I didn't know. When the first 3 movies started, I was like, shit, dude, we only have, like, around maybe like a high 20s amount of kills. This next one has to have like 20 kills. This film has, like, I believe they counted zombies, re-deaths of other characters, shootings, bodies shown. This movie, I believe he said, had 42 kills, so I was like, holy shit. I was way off. I was like, shit, dude. If it only had 20, if I think they only counted the human kills, I think I would have, like, won the prize, which this, usually they give out, like, a shirt, and then they give out, like, the movies that you just watched on, like, Vinegar Syndrome 4Ks or whatever releases they tend to have, and if they don't have a release, you get, like, other stuff. This year, they just gave out a ton of, like, VHSs, because I guess Dallas VHS, or Dallas, what do you call it? It's like this Dallas store. They did a VHS swap this morning, and I didn't go pick up any or do a swap with people, but I was watching people pick up some really cool titles. I saw someone get Ghost World. I saw someone get The Blair Witch 2 brand new seal, and I was like, that's cool. So they had some, like, pretty fucking cool titles there overall, but I ended up getting nothing because I just didn't find the time. But the VHS they had a bunch of, like, grandparent themed ones, like grannies dancing, like, shitty explanation tapes and like training videos and workout videos. And then they had actual cool tapes. They had a Japanese release of Dead and Buried, a really apparently rare one, brand new, still sealed. So that was cool, whoever got that one, because 2 winners guessed 69. I almost wrote 69 as a joke. I fucking should have, because I would have been a winner at the end. But I wrote like 49 because I was trying to be like realistic. Whatever. But they got Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. They had the Japanese version of Dead and Buried. They had another Halloween-based slasher film that was compared to Scream. I have to look it up when I can remember the name at home, but I can't remember right now. And Halloween 3 Season of the Witch they gave out on VHS. So they got some cool stuff this year regardless. Even if they didn't get the movies that we got to watch like they do the other years. Fun ass time. Cemetery Man, easily like the best quality film, and the one that I'm like, I kind of want to own. So Severin, it was the Severin 4K they played on screen. The Severin 4K I know came out this year. I know this is out of Blu-ray, but it came out I think early this year because we've had the Cemetery Man 4K in our store. So if I can, I might pick it up soon. Definitely one I would like to own. The only 2 I could actually get would be Dead and Buried and Cemetery Man, which are probably the 2 best quality films. But fuck, it would be cool to own Psycho Cop Returns and Jacko, I can't lie. But yeah, I might end up picking Cemetery Man up by this week. And, add it to like a Halloween rotation watch list next year or something. I thought this was very cool. I very much enjoyed it. And it seemed it was the most enjoyable for the crowd overall. Even with like the least laughs. This one had people like talking afterwards about it. I just heard people. And yeah, it even got me in a little conversation. That's why I left like 20 minutes later than I actually did, because we were talking about mainly this and Jacko. Arguably the worst and best film of the entire lineup. I almost wish we got 5 movies this year, but I can't be picky. It was a really good lineup. Easily the strongest year. Most consistent. Because none of the films I really disliked. Like last year we had Blackenstein. The first year we had a trailer show, which AGFA like required to be at almost all the lineups. Respect to AGFA for getting all these films and the copies of getting them on the big screen and stuff, but like, fuck, dude, that trailer show it just wasn't worth it. You was like, you paid for 3 movies and like a bunch of shitty trailers that only go on for like 68 minutes. Is like, that wasn't really what we wanted, but okay. But it was cool to like have a lineup this consistently good, I would say. But yeah. Fun time at Dismember the Alamo. I can't, if you have an Alamo Drafthouse that does this near you, I can't guarantee the lineup will be the same. I saw people posting on Reddit all their lineups. Shitload of people got Phenomena, the Dario Argento film, also called Creepers. A lot of fucking theaters got that one. I also saw a good amount of theaters get Night of the Demons 2. But no, my theater, almost every year, it doesn't have anything that matches other people's list. We almost always get a like fully unique lineup, which is awesome at ours. So. And Denton, the Denton Theater near me as well, they did a Dismember the Alamo Saturday. So now it seems like we'll be getting 2 Dismember the Alamos every year now here. I don't typically have off on Saturdays. I'd have to take off. But maybe next year I'll go to both, because I heard the lineup there was cool. They did 4 vampire movies, like 3 pretty well-known classic, well-known Dracula vampire films, and then they did a new one that doesn't come out in wide release for 6 months and apparently screened at Fantastic Fest called Sister Midnight. I'm like, shit, that would have been cool to see a movie 6 months early. I wish I went to that lineup. Looking at the lineup, it wasn't as exciting as this. This is more my cup of tea, as a variety of weird shit that I just will never see than just kind of a straight up like, Dracula vampire themed stuff. But regardless, I would love to go to both. I'm curious, because apparently the guy who did the programming at the Denton location, apparently he's a huge vampire fan, and that's why he picked that for their first year there. So I'm kind of curious, like, what would he do next year? He probably wouldn't do vampires again. Like, what else does he love? Would he have to do something more varietized? Anyway, we did have a theme this year. It was called Resurrection, because all the films are about bringing either back the dead or a character that, returns. Like Psycho Cop, he was killed in the first one. He just gets resurrected in this. They don't show it, but he is alive. He survives it. Dead and Buried is about resurrecting people. Cemetery Man is about resurrection of people who just keep coming back. And then Jacko is about resurrecting this demon many years later. So yeah, I got it. It was a fun theme. You could really do a lot of themes, because like most monster or slashers come back from the fucking dead, but it's whatever. It was fun. It was really fun. My voice is hurting. When I talk for this fucking long, you get a little bit of a sore throat, and I don't have any water with me, so yay. That's, I guess, all I have to say. Not much else to say, because that was the 4 films. I had a blast. I will definitely be going again next year, unless like shit happens where I get sick. That's like the only reason I wouldn't be going next year. So you can expect me to do. I should do this video every year. I sadly didn't do it the first 2 years, but I will be doing it for sure next year. I love this event. It's extremely fun, kind of chaotic. I usually see stuff I've never seen. So far, all 3 times I went, I've seen nothing that I had seen before, and that's something I think is pretty goddamn special. So, yeah. Don't have much else to say. Dismember the Alamo. Check it out. I think, honestly, you probably can't check it out this year, because I think now all the lineups are done. I think October 27th is the last time. So some Alamos do it the week before. They do it on Saturday and Sunday. And then a bunch of other Alamos do it this week of October, the final week of October, before the Halloween, is coming up on just next Wednesday, Thursday. So, yeah, but go next year. Or if you have the December to Dismember, I can't vouch for it. I've never been to one of those, but I'm sure the lineup is fun enough. I'd recommend it. Go see what that's all about. I'm sure they always pick fun movies. I bet the one in Richardson does, because these guys, they know their shit. They've seen a lot of horror. They've seen a lot of weird shit. They know movies, and that's fun. And, yeah, that's all I gotta say. I'm fucking tired. Good night, everyone. Watch Psycho Cop Returns. Peak Cinema. Love you, Dan Povenshire. Can't wait for the new Phineas and Ferb.